But I did have a little hiccup with the garlic, and then I realized that the garlic did get rained on. But that forced me to adapt and change my plan.
Hey everyone, in this video we're going to make a DIY drying rack for our garlic and our onions because a rainstorm is coming. We're also going to move a yard of compost, and we're going to give you some advice on the compost that we use and how you can learn from our mistakes and not get burned by this compost. And then finally, in the true taste of summer, we have some cucumbers that are ready to be harvested. So in the last video we got to harvest our onions and garlic. In this video we get to harvest some cucumbers. Let's get to it. It's about to start raining any second now, and I need those tarps. They're covering my onions and garlic, so I got to go get another tarp, and then we're going to go get those compost. Hopefully by the time we get that tarp, it's all clear and it's not a muddy mess when we go pick up the compost, because we have to come back and make a plan for all of this stuff. Let's go.
All right, we're back from getting the compost, and as if it didn't rain at all, but it rained really hard. I thought a bunch of stuff would have got knocked down, but we fared pretty well. Cucumbers fared well. The tomatoes did well. So everything's there. But I did have a little hiccup with the garlic. Like I said before I left, before it was raining, I had tarps on this. But right before I left, I came out and checked, and then I realized that the garlic actually did get rained on. So the wind blew the tarp away, and about half my garlic bed got soaked for about 15-20 minutes. So when I came back home, I immediately removed the tarp when there was no more chance of rain, and I've been trying to let it dry out. But that forced me to adapt and change my plan. So today we're actually making a drying rack for the garlic and the onions so we can bring them inside. I need these beds anyway for other things. Let me go show you the material that I got and see if we can knock something out really fast. All right, this is going to be a really fast build. We got some 2x4s here, and we have some 1-inch poultry netting. And this one is 3 feet wide. So we're gonna make 2 drying racks, 3x6, maybe 2.5 feet tall. And the kicker here is I want to stack them. So we'll see how we can make that work. So let me just measure it up. I'm gonna quickly knock this together. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but once I put it together, I'll give you the rundown and I'll show you how it works. All right, I got one of the frames done. So we have 6 feet by 3 feet, and pretty much just it. We're gonna lay the chicken wire on top, and let's just do it one more time. So we have 2 stacks. And just like that, we have 2. So now we're gonna put the poultry netting and staple it on top and make some legs and see if we can stack them maybe 2.5 feet apart. I think that's enough for greens to hang down, but air to still flow by. So let's give that a try. All right, y'all, so this is what we got. Like I said, we just put the chicken wire over it and stapled it with the Ryobi staple gun. And then this is what it looks like with one of our onions. All right, here's the finished product. I think we decided not to put it on legs. We're just going to keep it on the sawhorse and then have a fan blow on it. But we have 2 layers, some chicken wire, the bottom and the top. That way we can just lay our onions out on top, and then we can have our garlic come through the bottom. So we'll make room in the garage, put some fans out, and then bring the sawhorses in with this contraption. Good afternoon. So yesterday kicked my butt. I ended up spending quite a few hours getting all the garlic from out of the garden into the garage. Made a mess, made quite a big mess, but let me show you what we ended up doing. Some of the garlic got wet yesterday. I had them covered with a tarp, but the wind blew the tarp up, so a lot of them got wet, and the humidity was so thick at night that all the windows were wet, and everything that we had outside was just wet, even though it wasn't raining. The sun actually came out after it rained in the early afternoon, and it dried a bunch of stuff off, but it was just so humid at night that I'm glad that was the night that I decided to bring everything in. So let's check it out. So I had my onions on the bottom just because they weighed more. I didn't end up making legs for it. Got too late, so I just kept them on the sawhorses. As you can see, I don't have a lot of space in my garage anyway. This is the side that got the most wet, and so I have it closest to the fan. I'm going to end up moving the fan around, maybe every other day, move it to a different section. But I just wanted to get the ones that got wet the most attention. The ones over on this side, they're the most dry. So I'm not really worried about the ones on this side uh, away from the fan. But this side is the most wet, most green. So we'll keep them in here for a couple weeks, but it smells like garlic. And these are the ones I'm going to process right away. So now that we got that out of the way, we can get to the original plan for yesterday, which was to amend the beds that the garlic and onions were in and prepare them for the next planting because it's still really early in the season and we want to get some other things in the ground. We get our compost from Classic City Compost, which is the local landfill, and they have a closed loop food scraps compost where they collect food scraps from the local businesses and they mix that with tree limbs from the arbor. And I've exclusively used this compost in my garden for the last 2 years, which is great because it's only $20 a yard. So every time I need to get a little refresh, I just drive up in the truck. I get a truckload of the compost and it only costs $20. Here's the kicker though. When we get the compost, it's not ready to be used yet. So this compost has literally messed me up. Even this season, I lost half my potatoes because I was mounding up with this hot compost and it just completely cooked the potatoes underground and just destroyed the plants. And this is the beds that I'm going to throw it in. I'm going to throw it in here, maybe one garden cart each. It doesn't need much compost at all. I'm just because there was garlic and onions in here, I know they've been draining the soil dry. So I'm just gonna throw some in here, not for volume, more for nutrients. I'm gonna mix it in really well. The other place it's going is over here. See how red that clay is compared to when I dropped the corn in. And I'm gonna move all this hay and I'm gonna just put it in the walkway. Now I gotta get all these bulbils from the elephant garlic out of this bed. Look, they're everywhere. I grew 50 cloves of elephant garlic in this bed. So imagine how many of these have just fallen in this bed. All right, so this is what these beds look like after. Not sure if you can tell the difference, but I am gonna put some bone meal, blood meal, maybe a 555 in here as well. So these beds will be a little bit more tricky, mainly because the drip tube's already in here and there's some pine straw. But I definitely want to get it weeded. And then of course, those wonderful elephant garlic corms. Gotta see how much of them are in here. I haven't been able to top this bed off since last October or last September before I put the garlic in. So as you can see, it's pretty depleted. So quick water break, then we'll take care of this, clean it up, and then we'll add compost to it. So we're at our tasty green cucumber trellis, and we got a couple long cucumbers that are at least a foot long. Look at that one. Look at my hands. Look at this cucumber next to my hands. So we're gonna grab a couple of these. I promised my son and my wife that I'd let my son harvest them, so I'm just gonna pick a couple that he can't reach, and then I'll let him harvest the ones that are low to the ground. Yeah, but beautiful cucumber. And then the other one we're gonna harvest today.
This is called homemade pickles. These are pickling cucumber, probably thick-skinned. There's a couple on here. All right, so let's harvest some cucumbers. Like, how huge is this cucumber? This is crazy. It's bigger than my head. So let's get a couple of these homemade pickles, and then I'll harvest the rest, and yeah. There's honeybees in here. Oh no, oh no. Let's get that one. So I ended up picking these two. Like I said, I'm gonna have the kids pick the other ones. Then I'll come back and show you what the entire harvest of cucumbers of today is. So these are the remaining cucumbers that we got. So not a bad first cucumber harvest.